Hi. My name is Theodore Cottingham, and I bring a crisis to Christianity because I explain the new birth, what it shall be, how it's developed, what it offers you, and how it changes the essence of your life. So let's begin, shall we? I love you, and I thank you for listening. I thank you for being here. Please understand, this is school. I am a professor. I am a doctorate in leadership, and I am leading to lead you into a new world, a realm of revelation, for it to be revealed in you, to you, through you to each other, creating a consciousness that did not evolve with evolution. This is creation at its best. Creativity at your fingertips, but creativity in your mind, not your soul. This is not about your soul. I've taught over and over, and if my channel and my teachings are new to you, I really invite you to go back and begin to search and listen, especially to the videos, the teachings of this year. So much has come forth this year in the revelation of the mind of one, the school of one, the revelation of one, the revealing of the one. So let's understand what we're talking about. I've many times talked about beings of light. So I'm trying to be more explicit, more articulate, provide a greater depth of understanding. The new birth is not at all what Christianity teaches, not whatsoever, not even close. Christianity wants to redeem, save, salvation, the soul. I suggest to you, whether it's been your definition or not, that you receive a new one. Learn to create it. Learn what it is. And I suggest to you the soul. The soul of a human being is the magnetic properties operated by electromagnetic forces, whether you call it biophysical, biochemical, bioelectrical, physiological, psychic. You see, the energy of this world. See, you can no longer say this doesn't matter or doesn't pertain to you. It's an understanding that seems like is required. You can no longer just go about life oblivious and trying to be happy with a third grade vocabulary, third grade definitions, a third grade lifestyle. The energy of this Earth system is all related to the force, the electromagnetic force. Whether you want to get into the strong force, weak force, etc., or not. We can talk about classical physics and protons, neutrons, and electrons. We can talk about the quantum world, the subatomic world. But my friend, you see, we're talking about the new birth and what this means and what the message of Jesus really was, that's been constrained and constricted, corralled by those who did not understand and still don't understand and preach a soul to be redeemed. Your auras, your chakras, align your chakras, have a spirit guide, seek the Holy Spirit, worship, worship, obey, obey, seek the will of God, follow, 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 and don't make waves. I could say a lot more, but let's go on. Let's talk about the new birth. Let's begin understanding the new birth. I suggest to you, I'm not aware that anyone understands the new birth. But I know there's many people and many writings that have much revelation that I'm not aware of. And I'm just one simple guy in Eureka Springs. I suggest to you, the new birth brings a new creation. And this new creation doesn't have the limitations of flesh. So what we've been taught to be a new creation, a born-again person, is a person completely new, a new consciousness, a new frame of reference, a new language. A language pre-Babel, pre-Tower of Babel. A language that everyone can understand. Every person who becomes a new creation, experiences the new birth, can communicate without words. Exists in a state that doesn't require machines, doesn't require electricity, is not magnetically controlled. So I'm holding up a picture of what looks like maybe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. Imagine with me now, let's speak about the revelation of being born again, before we die, entering the consciousness of Christ, the consciousness of the Creator, a universal consciousness, the consciousness of one, source consciousness, the original before God ever existed as a God construct in our mind. So we're coming into new definitions, a definition that does not control or constrict. a new creation, is one with the God mind, the mind of God, the infinite, the unlimited. This is what the new birth is about. So when Jesus speaks about being born again, remember to Nicodemus in the Bible? I think it was Nicodemus, wasn't it? So the words have definitions. And so we immediately envision the definition or a picture of what we think the definition implies. So Nicodemus says, can a person re-enter their mother's womb? No. So you see, I think the Bible reports most versions born of the Spirit. But see, Christianity has given a definition, a very ambiguous aspect of born of the Spirit. Oh, your soul is reborn, or some such. Some aspect of you is reborn. Just say this prayer. But no, my friend, understanding the new birth takes time. Understanding the new birth as it really is, yes, takes time for you to grow into it, shedding the definition of the old that has held us powerless. Let's speak about the value of a Bible verse. You value your Bible? A lot of people do. 1 John 3:2. When you see the message of Jesus, 1 John 3:2 says, when Jesus is revealed to you, when you really understand, we become like he is. Not limited to flesh, not limited to this energy system of earth, not trying to redeem the operation of the soulish energy. We are creating, and we are creators, and it's time to create again. It's time to create again. It's time to create again. And we all have this great opportunity to become a force, the source. The mind of unconditional love. A new being, a light being, a born again. Jesus became the first. He was the firstborn of many. Now we shall be like him as he is, not as he was. So this is school. I hope you have a notebook, a 3-ring binder. You have something you're making notes with. I'm not teaching this for you to listen and let it go in one ear and out the other, as some say. This is for you not just to chew on or ruminate, but it is for you to reflect on, to meditate, to cogitate, or as Mary, the idea of Mary, when the angel spoke to her, she pondered. I like that word. She pondered what these things must mean. Everyone who is born again, everyone who experiences new birth is like the wind. John 3:8. The wind, you see, you can't see where it comes from or where it goes. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit. Because anyone who is born of the Spirit is no longer limited by the molecular flesh. Gravity no longer controls anybody that's born again. And not only that, everyone who is born again can communicate without telephones, without electromagnetic tools, without electricity. So in this picture, I mentioned these 7 people. All communicate by thought. So I suggest to you that, say this person on the end has a thought and they want to communicate it to the rest of them, it's all by intent. Or if this person wants to communicate just with this person who looks primarily blue and the primary blue there, it's by intent. Because we are creators. And this is the creation of the revelation that brings a revolution. As we begin to see with a consciousness, not our own, not again, it is our consciousness that is no longer limiting our perception of where we are, who we are, and what our power is. So I shared this picture, and I entitled Teaching the other day. I see millions of women being Christ. Not being the male, being the female Christ. Because truth is not patriarchy. Truth is not patriarchal. Truth is not hierarchical. So when I started off this teaching saying there's a crisis coming in Christianity and I bring it. And who am I? Millions of people who begin now to see with eyes that are not limited to the vocal forces of magnetism and magnetic programming, dots and dashes, haves and have not, on and off, a world of duality. You remember I showed this yesterday. I did so, I think, a year ago or so. We are no longer powered by the mind of man. So what is this? An allegory? An example? Like a piece of flannel on an old flannel graph? You remember those? Yep, I'm old enough. I was. This is the CPU chip out of my first computer, the IBM PC, Model 1, Model 0, one of the earlier ones that ever existed in Tulsa. And this CPU, this 8088 chip I mentioned, I looked it up and my source showed that this little chip, the awe and wonder of its immense capability of processing. The IBM PC first chip 88 processed about 300,000 instructions per second. So it was about 0.3 MIPS. But that was over 40 years ago now. And now, in my Pixel phone, the CPU, the equivalent of the CPU, processes billions of instructions per second. So many that I read where people in the industry now don't even use that metric, MIPS. The millions of instructions per second, don't even use it beyond that. And this, my friend, is where we are. When we begin to behold the Christ, not the Christian one, but the message of Jesus. What was the message of Jesus? Be born again, be a new creation. You are the creator. You have the power. Listen, learn, love. Remember, John 14:12, I mention it all the time. If you believe in me, you will do the works that I do, and greater, more. 1 John 3:2, to begin to see Jesus is to be to receive. Receive what? A belief? An awareness? No. To begin to see the revelation that you're not separate. And you have that same consciousness of that same mind if you will no longer separate in yours. You see, we have not only admired our ability, our mind, our intelligence, our IQ, and worship people who seem to be more intelligent than us or whatever. Give them accolades and honor. But there's more to the story. So much of the world gives awards to the most arrogant, or the one with the most marbles, the one most effective at devising pictures and stories to obtain the widow's mite from each other. My friend, commerce is changing. You see, I'm not talking about some little tale. I'm talking about what I've been taught directly by what most of my life I called God, Source. So I've channeled. So I know these things. From a source that didn't come from some arrogant white man strutting across a stage. Woman either. I love you, and not to belabor this, I may record only a few more minutes. I rarely have any concept of how long I record. We haven't seen technology secular things and spiritual things as one. We've divided. We've divided the sacred and the secular. We've divided the haves and the have-nots. Religion has come along, dividing between those who were intelligent and not, those who were ordained and not, those who knew Latin and not. Did all their services in Latin so common people wouldn't even know what they were saying. That's why so many pictures developed. You see, no one can restrict our communication. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm asking you to expand. In one sense, I'm asking you to blow up, explode your idea, your concept, your ability, your creative ability to understand, not just to grasp, to lock down on it, but open out and leave it open. Leave these definitions open that I'm opening for you. So you begin to open the channel to receive these things directly and not limited to me and what I share with you, not limited to my syntax, my diction and grammar. Where you're no longer trying to lock down on the definition of what it means to be born again is this, my friend, it's this, that's truth. And you concretize it, trying to put it into stone on some kind of tablet. No, my friend, it doesn't operate that way. Love is a flow. Unconditional love is a teacher by its nature. It's not relativistic, it's relationistic. The relation. The Garden of Eden is between your ears. The tree of life, your neuronal network. Understand the allegory. Understand there's more to the story. This is what I stand for, stand on. Stand in, it's what I am. I am my speech. I am my word. I am these words. But if I am these words, what am I? Now, I'm the consciousness of me. I become conscious of who I am. Taken me a long time. Hard path, many thorns to pull out. Here again, just one example I've used so many times. After Jesus taught a crowd all day, the disciples came and said, Rabbi, Master, the people are hungry. Should we go to town and get them something to eat? But what did Jesus say? Feed them. You feed them. They didn't know how. There's so much to the story. You see, even after the resurrection, Jesus appeared, what? In the Sea of Galilee or a lake. And they're fishing. They're fishing because they're fishermen. And they needed fish. They needed food. Like limited humans do. After the resurrection, Jesus appears, sees them, and says, now he's talking to professionals, if you will. These men have fished all their life, right? So who's this guy on the shore telling these guys how to do their job? But Jesus said something like, according to the narrative, cast your net on the other side. Then lo and behold, I guess they did, and it yielded a different result. How did Jesus know that? Christianity can say, oh, he's the Son of God. He, Jesus, the only one, the only one that ever was and the only one that ever will be. No, my friend, that's ridiculous, preposterous. It bastardizes. You see, it limits. It castrates us. It embellishes the story of Jesus and cuts off our inheritance. No, it cuts off the revelation of the Word. Why do you think the story of the people that came out of slavery in Egypt on the way to their promised land got manna every day? Because they just got tired of their rations. They ran out of food. And this was just something of the story that has no meaning to you. No, the manna came every day. What is manna? I'm told it simply means, it's a word that means, what is it? What is this that we're seeing fly in every morning that we can go pick up and have food to eat? Correlate the manna to the children in the desert trying to get to their promised land. Correlate it to the Word, the living Word, the Word of love, the Word, the Word, the Word, not concretized in a book. See, Christianity has locked down the message of Jesus, and I loose it. And no one will stop me, and who am I? I am millions of people like you, my friend, who begin to see the message with new eyes, with a new consciousness that does not concretize and lock down on the definitions or what you think the Word of God is. You see, the Word, if I am my Word, I am my flow of this energy. And the flow of my energy is not separate from my motive. And my motive is a lot more than just to connect. My motive is to help create the consciousness of the unconditional, loving, creative force, the source of all revelation, the source of all life, that doesn't require molecular food, doesn't require telephones, airplanes. It doesn't require you to fill out your resume and hope you get a job. Hope you have enough. Pay your bills. Feed your children. This, my friend, is now. We are no longer the beggars limited by our language of 2,000 years ago. We're no longer subject to the Tower of Babel. We're no longer subject to the Pharaoh that wants to enslave us And when we begin having light in our eyes, wants to make us make bricks without straw. You see, we are no longer limited to the 88 chip that we were born with. Do you see the correlation, the metaphor? Good one or not? It's what the Bible is full of allegory, nonfiction or not. The power is in the story, not in its authenticity or its accuracy. Whatever power is there is the power that you see in the story, because the power you see in the story is the power that you attribute to it, that you run your life by. You see, a people are arising. A people are coming together. A people not limited by man. A people not limited by force. A people coming now. You, my friend, if you begin to get this message, I'm inviting you to loose it. Loose it. And let it be free inside you. Let this seed be planted in you. Open to the idea of becoming a John 3:8-er. A John 3:8-er. A John 14:12-er. A 1 John 3:2-er. And begin to see a story arising. A story, yep, a story. You can call it a fable. You can call me whatever you want. But it won't change my story. You see, I not only know who I am, I know who you are. And if you want to remain as you are, you can. You can remain as you are in flesh, limited to flesh, dependent upon flesh and flesh ways, earthly means. You can spend the rest of your days serving God, serving the church, thinking you're doing God a favor, thinking you're being nice and not naughty. And God will reward you at the end of your days. That's not my story. That's not the story of Jesus. And that's why I've written the book. And how do I know these things? I've channeled these things for 20 years. This says, maybe backward on your screen, Jesus the pattern. Jesus is not the Redeemer. But if you begin to see the revelation of what he became, and that you can become what he became, you'll begin to learn. And you'll begin to learn why Christianity wants to say he was the only one and there'll never be another one. He was special. Remember all the prophecies, and born of a virgin, and on and on and on. And I've talked about those things, even in recent weeks and months. But in this teaching, I'm talking about the new birth. I'm talking about becoming born again. I'm talking about what that means. A people are coming on the earth now, and now is the time. And you who want to control people won't be able to. And you pastors and preachers that want people to sit in your pew and listen to your messages and finance your building are going to be full of despair if your motive is to control rather than set free. Because the definitions are not evolving. The definitions are being replaced that we have been created with. And the new is being formed in the new life of the new source of the new covenant. The promise of love being manifest directly, not through any intermediary. No intermediary. You see the idea of a new priesthood? A new priesthood? It goes back to the definitions. If you're talking about a priesthood to lead the people between you and God, no, that's foul, it stinks, it's putrid. But if you're talking about a king and a priest that are not two things but one, a king-priest, a priest-king, well, that's an antiquated, it's a word of antiquity, but usable, a priest-king, because you have a land and you have power. And if you want to throw it away, you have that option. You can abdicate. You can abdicate your position as creator, and you can allow yourself to be created by all the words, all the streams of energy, all the paragraphs, all the headlines, all the textbooks that have fed you, that have fed into your existence for you to be who you think you are. But if you want to be a person of light, not dependent upon money. Remember Matthew 6:33, you cannot serve God and mammon. I've told you before, for years, I pondered, deliberated, asked, questioned, searched. And finally, you remember what I decided? I decided I didn't know the difference. So I finally sat back and said, teach me. I don't know the difference. And when you're ready to sit back, lay down your Bible, lay down your college degrees, and all that you have held on to so dearly, so devotedly, so dedicatedly, that you worshiped, that gave you life, that gave you meaning, that brought you in community with other like-minded individuals to experience life and laugh. Jesus said, if you love those things more than me, you're not worthy of me. Wow. The message separates very friends, separates families. It's not a hard message, but it's the message of creation. The message of Jesus is that you're the creator. The created, the creation, the creator is one. You're not separate. And how all this works, how all this operates. I teach and teach and teach. Teach my brains out. Or do I have one? Or are we willing to see? Are we willing to see the ENIAC that's between your ears? Oh, it's an acronym. The ENIAC, ENIAC, I think. That was the name given to the beast. No, I mean, it was the name given to one of the first gigantic computers. The ENIAC. Look it up. The ENIAC, just like this chip that came in an IBM PC 40 years ago, my friend, is like our brain. We are antiques. We're not only antiques, we're from the past. And the past has been replicated over and over and over to keep us serving the past, to keep us locked into thought processes that operate on our mind through our neurons, dendrites, axon hillocks. I am not a physiological being, and neither are you. We are not limited to this earth. We originally were something else. But we are not going back to the origin to be like we were then. Please get this. We are entering the consciousness as it is now. And our consciousness is not that it has evolved. It is that we are creators creating. And there's a difference between relinquishing your power to accept the evolution of a race or technology removed from you and you being the very center of the story. You see what I'm saying? I hope. Pardon me. So we're no longer limited to the ENIAC. We're no longer limited to the 88 chip. We're no longer limited to 300,000 instructions per second. We don't even need machines to communicate. We don't need machines to travel. We will never again serve mammon. You won't see my name on any job application. Or yours either. For we will no longer be on the ground looking up, hoping for some crumbs from the rich man's table every other Friday. A paycheck. I have something more valuable. I have knowledge. I have knowledge of me. And pray I do this day to you. I pray to you. I bow my head before you and I pray to you to open up your mind and let unconditional love come touch you. Not my finger, not my hand, but the creation of pure, unconditional, unadulterated, unabridged love that heals. That sets free from the consciousness of confusion, ambiguity, isolation. You see, the born again are not isolated. They're all one mind. They're all one mind with the uniqueness of you. And this is what we're coming to. And that's why there is a crisis in Christianity, and Christianity will not control it. And their popes will no more be waving their wands and absolving sins, forgiving sins. There'll be no more confessional booths. There'll be no more altar rails where pastors and preachers and evangelists say, come down here and kneel down, give God your life to redeem your soul. We're beyond that now. We're beyond that now. Hear me, you preachers, you priests, you Bible teachers, you televangelists. I speak your days are numbered not. I speak there's coming a people, and those people are here now and hearing this message all over this world from me and each other. Will you be one? Will you be one to tell others? Will you be the one? Will you be one? Will you no longer be limited to 3D? 5G? Will you begin to communicate without this thing? Will you begin with it? Will you no longer be isolated? Will you no longer be inhibited or intimidated by your pastor, preacher, teacher, husband, wife, mother, father, son, daughter, newspaper? Will you begin speaking no longer the word of faith, but the word of creation? Every day like this. Beginning how? With a pen and a yellow tablet. As a little child. You begin to come as a little child. And if you don't know what else to say, cut off your phone, put it in another room, leave it in the car where you're taking time to look within. And within you say, the ultimate, here I am. But it's no longer, here I am, use me, my friend. It's here I am. I'm willing to be me. I'm willing to be the creator you said I was. I'm willing to be the embodiment of John 3:8, John 14:12, 1 John 3:2. I'm willing. I'm willing. I'm willing to write the words of your mind directly on my heart. That is not my blood pumping muscle, the heart of my mind, so that I will have a new heart, a new mind. The mind of God, the mind of the Creator, no longer the mind of the isolationist, no longer seeking out a church or a preacher to feed me. It's all different. Now I ask you please to see, this is a school. I am a school. It took me a long time to understand that. I am in school. I've started a school. I call it the School of Creation. I'm in that school. I'm in the school of creation that I'm creating. And I am the school. I am the school of my word. I am the school of this energy. I am the school of this stream of energy. I am the school of continuation, not of mankind, nor its mind of separation. There's a new beginning. There's a new race. Angels, a race of angels. Call it that if you like. It's okay. Earth becoming the planet of the angels? A new heaven and a new earth? Earth becoming the new heaven, no longer being held? I'm asking you to get a picture of you. This is it. This is the bottom line. This is not about Jesus. It's about you and who you are and who you see you as and what you see, your power, your opportunity this day. You have the power to be you, and no one can take that power from you. The story is about you. The purpose of Jesus' life, Jesus the pattern, the purpose is to see your power, to see your privilege to walk with royalty. But not of the red carpet. I'm talking about the royalty of the heavens, of the cosmos. You see, Andromeda is not so far away when you understand. You can go there in the twinkling of an eye. You can be in London for breakfast. Paris for lunch. And Durban for supper. And back in Eureka by thought. So don't try to save your soul. In fact, if anything, begin to render it useless. Begin to render it powerless. It's very powerful, but you're far more powerful. See, the soul is powerful. Your soul and the accuser of the brethren, the mind that you were born with, the neurons is simply a processing unit like an Enigma machine, just like in World War II. Oh, there's a lion in the street. Yep, could be. But begin to see you're not limited to 300,000 instructions per second because you are connected to the potential of the infinite. The infinite mind, the infinite love, the creator of all creators says, come home. And please don't die first. You die before you die. What do I mean? Die before you die? You die to the magnanimous representation that you think this may be reality of. Created by a holy God, a holy God that you bow down to. No. Love does not want you to worship it. My son, my daughter, I don't want them bowing down before me. I did all I could as I was teaching them as they grew up. I wanted them to have all the knowledge that I had, all the knowledge I could possibly give them to help them begin life, begin adulthood, not having to make the same errors I made, not having to relearn everything. I could just pour it in them. So I spoke. I let them go with me wherever I went. And when they called me at work, I took those phone calls. Love people and love them all. I love you. My gosh, it's already an hour. I love you. This is me. This is my body and blood. Do you see this? What I've given you, what I've shared this hour, what I come and share every day, what I share is my body and blood. And if you're willing to eat my body, drink my blood, metaphorically, it's about this energy. It's about these words. It's about not just a picture, not just a book. It's about you. Because you're it. The body and blood. That's not molecular. The body and blood. The blood of truth. No, the blood of light is truth. I love you. I go now. I hope this is meaningful to you. I hope you pray to no other God. That you begin to see your will matters. You are not a spectator. And you can't be a spectator to your life because you're the creator. And that's why the crisis in Christianity. Crisis with the controllers and the arrogant, the dictators that embrace brutality. Are all going to be subject to the little old ladies who come out of their rocking chairs. Flip, flop. It's all about the common people. Always has been. Never about the priesthood, the robe, the collar. It's about the common people. It's about you and me. It's about the people laying maimed on the battlefield. Gaza, Beirut, Chad, Sudan, Ukraine, Russia. Will you care? When you're born again, you are not subject to nuclear power because you're the very power of creation. This changes everything, and it's a flow. Please don't concretize it. Don't put your hands on it. Don't put your hands on it to limit it. Teach with an openness of joy and a fruit that doesn't embellish you or anybody else, but that you begin to feed the hungry. You begin to share who you are, what you are. Begin to share your story. This is school. I am a school. I told you. Over and over I say, this is a school. Did you get your pen out? Have you bought your notebook? Are you making notes? Are you drawing little lines and connecting the dots, connecting the ideas, the concepts? Are you outlining these lessons? Will you please outline them? Outline them, share them, write an article about them, write a course about them. Open your school. Betty Jo School of Creation. Karen's School of Creation. Yvette's School of Creation. Igor's School of Creation. No matter what your name is, create, create, create. It's no longer about the evolution or the subjection of your mind to a higher force or a greater power. It's about you humbling yourself to come as a little child, actually come before you and to go within and to say, here I am. In your mirror. Here I am. It's no longer here I am, oh God. It's here I am. Here I am, Theodore. And I love you. And tell yourself you love yourself. Honor yourself. Honor your word. Care about you. Your hygiene, your manners, your knowledge. Because, friend, you're a leader, and it's time for you to lead. Lead out of where we've been. Lead out of the pew. Lead out of Stagnantville. Lead out of religion. To become, and I end with this, the real you. That we all may be one. And when you see the story, you won't be seeing me. You'll be seeing you, my friend. And you'll be seeing each other as equal. And you'll see the story and understand the narrative and no longer neglect the opportunity to be who you really are. I love you. Theodore Cottingham. I love you, man. I love you, woman. Love each other. Write me. TheodoreCottingham.com. Theodore Eureka at Gmail. Begin putting your school together. Your school? Just start with a blog. Start with an outline. Go from there. It's a flow. Flow, flow, flow. Love is never stagnant. Unconditional love is a flow. Flow with each other. And let your crown no longer be concretized in the flesh, but connecting with all who are one. And pray to no other. Thank you so much for the privilege of sharing these words. Great privilege. Great privilege. Great privilege. And you also have this privilege. Start your own YouTube channel. Share what you're learning. Don't be intimidated. It's time to step up. You're being called to the front. The head of the table. Enjoy. See ya. Good day.